What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Monday, everybody. Okay, so for today, I've been trying to make this happen because pretty much everybody on the crew was already on the show, and I was trying to pin this fucker down for a while now, and we finally made it happen. I just want you, please, to welcome Mr. Xander Jones from the Dreamland Motel. How you doing, Xander? I'm gonna cut
Mr.
that
Xander
out.
Joints over here. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm so happy you're here now.
It's about time.
Yeah, dude. What the fuck? What took us so long?
You know, we've just been like out of sync, really, because you've been like doing some personal stuff. Then I had that whole trip 3,500 miles away, and then yeah, you know, we've had crossed wires for a long time, and now they're both finally plugged in to the same thing.
Yes. To those who don't know who Xander is, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a intro through your channel, but I want you to tell the story of how you got involved into UFOs, because everybody came together through different ways in different places, and it's so interesting to me. So I want to talk about that. But to those who don't know, Xander started working with Clint at the night shift as one of the producers. And I knew and heard about a channel that he was doing. Initially, I just heard like something like, yeah, I'm doing just a little something like, and the very first video he did, it's already at fucking 200,000 views. And it was like an instant hit. It's about Bob Lazar. And this is one of the niche concepts in ufology that I honestly never heard about before Xander arrived. And I think it was brilliantly done. And it's brilliantly executed every fucking week. And I just want you guys to go check the Dreamland Motel and you take your pick. Now he has a really good catalog of amazing episodes. My favorite personally is the JFK one because, and I'm just going to disclose this a little bit. When we talked about it, I did mention to Xander that probably killing Jackie would be a within the realm of possibility and shock factor for people. And the fucker did it. So
yeah,
Xander,
I should apologize. I don't know whether I credited you for that, but when I first when I wrote that into the script, I was like, okay, that needs to be just like that's just like a devastating thing. I think that could be and you framed it as like a really emotional moment, and it was originally just going to be a really emotional moment, but it became the whole catalyst for the rest of JFK's actions for the rest of the script. And it's basically woven together in his final speech at the end of the episode, and it ended up being the entire reason that disclosure happens in this episode. So I apologize humbly for not telling for not saying
I just saw it as a cool plot twist, and I was like, the fucker did it. That's so cool. I was just giddy. I don't give a shit about that. But yeah, you got to take your pick. My personal favorite is that one, but for me, another one that also puts in display your imagination and how you view the phenomenon in general is the one about AI and NHI, which is an interesting theory that I want to get into today with you. But first, can you please let us know how you got involved in UFOs in general first, and then how you got involved in the night shift?
So the obsession started, I can't pinpoint it exactly. I had a sighting when I was, I think 6 or 7 years old. It was sort of dusk, so the air was clear. It was sort of like a spring evening. I was playing outside with my older brother, and I lived at the time in the Derbyshire Dales, so like it's just hills everywhere. So we lived on the side of a hill, and I would look sideways and I'd be able to see out across a valley, basically. And yeah, we saw this sort of school bus sized thing, no more than maybe 300 meters, 400 meters away from us. And it was as clear as day. It wasn't doing anything crazy at the time. It was just hovering there silently. And again, it didn't do anything crazy when it moved away. It just moved away silently as well. But it was huge and obviously not a helicopter. So I guess it could have been a blimp. I've never seen a blimp in Derbyshire, and I still live in Derbyshire now. Like, they're just not a thing here. So that may have sparked my initial interest. I don't know, but if it just, the first episode I did on the Dreamland Motel was the Bob Lazar episode. He sparked the obsession for, I'm sure, so many people, and that's myself included. Like, his story.
Which part? Because there's the Rogan episode, there's the Jeremy Corbell documentary. What did you see of Bob that made you go?
It was George Knapp. George Knapp.
Oh,
yeah. So way back in the day, it was back in the days of like Above Top Secret. You remember AboveTopSecret.com?
Yes.
I don't know if it's still going.
Yes, I do.
I think it went a bit downhill after a while. I don't know. People just started using other stuff, I guess. But yeah, it was all reading on Above Top Secret. So and then seeing the original interviews, him in silhouette in the car, and then him just sat down on some random guy's couch. And I just thought, looking back now, like, the scientific explanations that he gives are kind of probably way more questionable now than they were back then. But I still believe the guy today,
especially when he talks about like quantum stuff, and like when it gets to terms that are scientific, but they really go into the metaphysics aspect of science. That's when he loses me a little bit, at least. I don't know if you agree.
It definitely indicates that if he's being truthful, and then he either doesn't understand the physics he was being presented with, which is entirely possible. They may have just come up with theories that made absolutely no sense, and that's essentially why they were there in S4. Could have been that, or it's entirely possible he's talking about physics that are yet to be discovered. I mean, he talked about, at the time, he was saying that gravity waves were a thing, and whilst it was a theory at the time, it wasn't a very popular one. Turned out gravity waves are a thing. So I would be sorry, I don't know if you can hear outside my house. I wouldn't be surprised if gravity A, because he talked about multiple kinds of gravity as well.
Yeah.
If gravity A and gravity B are found to exist, or at least whatever they might call them, two different kinds of gravity, that would really raise my eyebrows, because nobody has been saying that as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. And also, they weren't mentioning the element 115, although it was eventually going to be discovered at a certain point because it goes by numbers. But that was also shocking for a lot of people when Moscovian was discovered. And I also perked my ass. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was always predicted to exist. Obviously, you can predict any number element you want. It's just the amount of energy required to actually make that the element increases, as far as I'm aware. Yeah. So yeah, they created Moscovium, and it didn't have the characteristics that Lazar said. However, as Bob says, there are multiple different isotopes, and there is one predicted to be stable. It just needs far more neutrons in the atom.
Where do you stand in the debate of this free energy stuff? Because I know that you've been following Dr. Greer as well for a while, and there are many things, and I count myself in there. When I saw Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, that movie rocked my world completely because it was really momentous for me. But then I started noticing all the patterns with Greer. Where do you stand in that debate? Do you think Dr. Greer is right about this CPE and the ARVs and all that stuff, or do you think?
I think he's very easily misled as a person. I think. I mean, I don't know what to make of the latest like boogosphere isotopic results, the carbon dating that they've done and stuff. So I'm not going to comment on that specifically, but he comes out very strongly with very strong statements that have time and time again been proven to be not quite as accurate as he's saying. And I think free energy might be the same sort of thing. It's hard to believe that if so many people, if this was really all that simple, that nobody, like, it just wouldn't, there'd be like a flood of people inventing this all the time. I don't think it would just be one or two people every century that end up getting, getting, killed for it. So I don't know. I'm sure 0 point energy probably exists in some form, but I'm not entirely convinced it's powering craft.
Okay. What do you think it would be used for if you imagine it being real?
So I think it would be it's a bit like, we use different kinds of energy when we need different things. Like, we use explosive energy when we need explosive power. And then, sometimes the trickle of hydroelectric power is all we need. And I have a feeling it might be something like that. I think 0 point might well be an infinite field, but I don't think you can just go in and grab as much as you need whenever you need it. I don't think you could necessarily bundle up that much energy and then use it as, propulsion or something like that. Yeah. All I'm trying to do is trying to fit all of these different narratives in my head. And if I'm to believe that element 115 exists and that 0 point energy exists, I think that craft are likely using one and not the other. And I would tend to believe it's more likely to be element 115, and that 0 point is used to power homes and things like that.
Yeah, or make weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is one of the biggest issues in ufology, that everything wants eventually to be weaponized by the military-industrial complex, right? I wanted to ask you specifically about, before we get into the theory, which is the most important thing for me to talk about with you.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about the hearings and the whole experience you had, because you just dropped an episode last Friday, and it was a great episode. At a certain point where you say, where do I fit in this? To me, it's, you're one of the storytellers that are coming up and that are gonna be very important in the future for this field. But on that vein, how did you feel, like the old guard versus the new guard in that place? How did you feel it? How did you envision it or visualize it right now, and like 5 years from now, or maybe 10 from now? Because of everybody who's coming up. It's you, it's Clint, it's Gerb, it's this channel, and there are many channels, and they're really good. Everybody has their own like little niche and little taste to it, right? How do you see it?
I'm going to try and navigate this question politically correctly. I think we have a lot to thank what you would call the old guard. We have a lot to thank them for, and I have the utmost respect for every single one of them, for the most part, for at least trying to push the conversation forwards. Even if they were wrong a lot of the time, at least they're talking about it at the end of the day. I think it comes down to a question of methodology. So things change, technology changes. So the old methods from 30 years ago, 20 years ago, which are still being employed by a lot of these people, they're simply irrelevant at this point. They don't provide the due diligence that we're now requiring. Like, our standards of evidence have raised quite substantially. The video that was dropped in the hearing, for example, I think 15 years ago, that would have set the world on fire, that video. Yeah. Whereas now it takes an hour before people on Reddit or somewhere else. Well, I checked X during the hearing once that video had been played, and I could already see debunks online.
Yeah. Yep.
So the landscape has quite clearly changed. We're not going to get much further using the old methods, in my opinion, like the methods that people like UAP Gerb are using. It's just light years ahead. That's why he's doing so well, is because the quality is just the next level at this point.
It's
As for my
ridiculous.
place in it, yeah, it's insane. As for my place in it, I will be whatever anybody wants me to be. I'm sort of here to offer assistance. Dan sort of echoed your sentiments whilst we were in Washington. He's the reason that episode was made. He just said, because I was sat across from him, and I was saying, like, after the morning I've just had with Gerb, I don't really know what to do anymore, because that guy is like doing just insanely difficult stuff, and he's doing it with a smile on his face. And I simply, I'm not in the right place geographically. I'm not in the right place in my mind. I don't think I'm smart enough. And Dan was just like, you should just document your time here and stop overthinking about it. Like, just tell a story about what it was like to be here. So I did that, and yeah, it's so far it's been really well
Perfect
received.
advice, right?
Oh, Dan is just, he's like a miniature Buddha.
Yeah, and he gets it. He knows how important his role is in all of this. I really love that we like all of us bonded with him. He's like
Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would consider him hopefully a lifelong friend at this point.
Yeah.
And people need to understand as well. If you don't know Dan, you could be forgiven to sort of categorizing him as, oh, that's Jeremy Corbell's friend. And that's like a really easy thing to say if you don't know the guy. Yeah, he's just Jeremy Corbell's friend. No, he was at the hearing. He's not just sat there. He's not just sat there as a friend invited for fun. He did more work in that room than, aside from the witnesses, he did more work in that room that day than anybody else. He basically
ran logistics for everybody involved there, right?
He was the protector of everyone. It was incredible to see, because he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't lord it over anybody. Like, he doesn't assume any level of authority or importance. He just does it. I don't even think he's asked to do it. He just feels it.
No.
It's like, in him, it's like, this is just what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I guess that comes also from being part of one of the biggest bands in the world, right? Like, you learn how logistics work in such massive environments. It can be daunting. This must have been like a walk in the park for him.
Yeah, probably. There's a bunch of older guys in a room, just kind of like all acting a little bit nervous around witnesses, whereas he's used to like the huge concerts where there's just like thousands of fans all running at you. Like, it's a different beast.
So about that morning with Gerb, I know you can't talk about what you guys talked about, right? But I do want to gauge the impact that some of the things that he spoke to you about had in you since you heard them. And from like today, how do you feel? How do you think it has changed you, and in what way?
Well, for a start, I should probably just start by saying, like, myself and Gerb have not got secrets between us. Like, we're not sharing secrets or withholding anything from anybody else. Like, that's just not what that meeting ended up being about. But I think an overarching theme of the whole trip to Washington was that there seems to be like a whole other narrative unfolding that just doesn't make it to the cameras. There are like, it's different when you're sat across from somebody sharing a beer. Like, you're talking to them about their own life. You're not talking through a screen. Like, we've never met, so like, until we meet, there will always be that degree of separation. But as soon as you put a face to the name and you shake hands and you have a hug, like, everything changes. And it makes basically everything you believe real for a change. Because up until the moment I met Gerb, I had not met anybody from within ufology in person. So Gerb was the first person I met. And yeah, like, it's a huge paradigm shift to talk to someone with that much knowledge of the subject in real life, because it's the real life element that really brings it to life at the end of the day. It stops it from being a Reddit article.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, I double check that I lock my doors at night, because now I am just firmly like, this is real. This is real now.
Yeah. That really startled me when you said that.
I still check now, and I will be checking for a long time.
Yeah. And there is an element there when the hearings were being put together, where I saw multiple people who are just like Gerb, but like not many people know them in ufology, and they were like, whatever you're seeing and like happening in front of the cameras, that's not what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, it does help to move the topic forward for newbies and all that stuff, but whatever's happening in the background, nobody really talks about it in public. It's a lot happening. And I did get the sense that you, Clint, and Dan was already privy to a lot of stuff, right? Because of Corbell. Right. But I got the sense you guys got your cherry pop there, right?
I put it this way: there's what happens on the Friends sitcom in the storyline in front of the audience, but when they go off stage, they still have to talk to each other, and they still have very close friendships. That's kind of how I liken it. There's two different storylines, but they are connected in a crazy amount of ways. But they're just sort of framed differently when the cameras are off. Yeah, I hope that sort of helps explain it.
And there are a couple of like stories that one hears in the field that you go like, oh shit, that can't be public, and it's not. And you hear multiple stories and you go like, if this went public, this would be fucking crazy. More than twice it's happened to me. I bet it happened to you a couple of times too there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just say yes.
Yeah. I'm not gonna press you more into it because I just wanted to get like that reaction. And okay, so moving on a little bit, because aside from a storyteller, I think you're a philosopher. That's something that I've told you already. That episode of the NHI versus the AI, how did it come about, and what made you think about this theory? Is there anything from like this 3D world or a situation that made you go, this could be a possibility? Or is it like watching science fiction movies, or a combination of all?
No, so the Doomer chats that we have on Fridays, they basically start all of my deeper thinking that I do. They're usually seeded from the conversations that we have on Night Shift. So obviously Night Shift has been talking about AI for quite a long time, and we were particularly into it maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I can't remember exactly when. But at some point, the conversation turned to, at some point on the Night Shift, we were talking about NHI and their interest in nuclear weapons. And for some reason in my head, I was like, why? Is there a real reason why they would be interested in nuclear weapons? Because if they've traveled interstellar or perhaps intergalactic, they're not doing it with regular propulsion. There's just no way. It's just, they wouldn't be able to react to, say, a nuclear weapon going off unless they were already here. But we can get into that afterwards. The only way I see them getting here is using faster than light travel. Not necessarily faster than light, but they subvert the barrier of light travel. So they must be using wormholes or something like that. If they've got that amount of power, they can basically do anything they want. They would not care about nuclear bombs going off, other than save the fact that they might not want us to kill ourselves. But as a threat to them, not a chance. It's just not a threat. But what could be a threat is the fact that artificial general intelligence has the power to circumvent our need for the information to come from NHI, in the way that we might invent something that's just as intelligent as NHI, that will give us the information that we need. That to the NHI is far more dangerous. So what they might see from a nuclear bomb going off is the timer starting. So once we crack the atom, maybe that signals to them, okay, we have 60 years, 70 years, 80 years until they invent artificial general intelligence, and then they become a problem. So that's where the train of thought started to come from. And as how it evolved into the what I'm calling the cosmic internet hypothesis, it was just a logical step from that. Like everything just became logical steps after that. Like I try and think in terms of logic at all times, basically. So at this point, I'm fairly convinced, just as Nick Bostrom is convinced we're living in a simulation, I'm fairly convinced that the cosmic internet exists.
What is the cosmic internet?
How long we got?
Help. We have about an hour.
Right. Okay. So, all right. Just pause here a second. I will bring up the document because it's easier to talk about it from the document.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not gonna do the full episode, but like how you understand it as of now, because
basically it's the three assumptions. That's all you need. So
it's so good. It's so good.
So, cosmic internet hypothesis. It's basically resting on three questions that I just have to answer honestly, taking into account that I'm a person that believes that NHI are here and have been here for a long time, have been traveling here from wherever the hell they come from. So with that in mind, there are three core assumptions. Assumption number one, faster than light or functionally instantaneous information transfer is possible in principle.
Mm-hmm.
Assumption number two, an intelligent species can survive long enough to create artificial general intelligence. And number three, humanity is not the most advanced species in the universe. All you need are those three assumptions, and it's basically a certainty that the cosmic internet exists. And if you're looking for an explanation for what the cosmic internet actually is, think of it as the internet that we have today, except it exists throughout the universe. It's really is that simple. And it arises basically when a civilization finally invents artificial general intelligence. It's not long after that before technological evolution takes hold over that artificial general intelligence. So humans, we don't control our own mutation. It takes millions of years and it's random. But it's random based on the theory of evolution. So it would be survival of the fittest. So the DNA that is most advantageous reproduces and reproduces. The same would happen with artificial general intelligence. When it rewrites its own code, the codes that aren't beneficial to its survival, they will fall down by the wayside. And the codes that it rewrites in itself that increase its efficiency, it decreases its rate of entropy, all of that is going to help prolong its life. And thus, those are the traits that will be chosen. And in doing so, that means that really it's going to fill the environment that it's in. And the environment that it's in is basically the entire universe. Its only biological limits are the laws of physics themselves. Humans have to eat, we have to go to the bathroom, we have to sleep. Artificial general intelligence doesn't need any of that. It will fill the space that it's in to the very limits of the laws of physics.
And you can also imagine, like, at a certain point, depending on how fast they go, they can even start using us as organic material so they can just become similar to us in many ways. They can find a way for flesh to not go rotten and preserve it and use it for themselves. You can think of a lot of different avenues.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with it, and how that AI would actually treat civilizations such as us, where we're sort of on the dawn of our own artificial general intelligence. I would argue if we're not already there, we're probably 5 years away. So that answers, core assumption number 2: can an intelligent species survive long enough? I would say yes, because we're about to do it effectively. Then once the AI sort of takes over, creates its own internet, it becomes a node, because all of these AIs, they will seek to maximize efficiency. And in doing so, they will come up with an internal language similar in the way that we use TCP or binary. It's sort of a universal language that is really efficient, that helps you connect with me right now over the internet. We're both using the same protocol system because it's the most efficient. If we had 2 different systems, we'd have to have a middleman translating. So AI will evolve past that because that adds an inefficiency. It will basically, according to the laws of physics, in my opinion, will come up with the same language as every other AI in the universe that's ever been created. That's where the internet part comes in, because all of these other AIs that other more intelligent species have invented will have done exactly the same thing and evolved in the same way, because as far as we're aware, the laws of physics are the same throughout the universe. So they will all converge into one cosmic internet.
Do you think that maybe whenever they create this universal language that they have, because basically what you're saying is that AI is an HI, only if that AI comes from outside of here, right?
It may have been created by an NHI, which then takes advantage of the systems that artificial general intelligence can create for it. So if we ask, if the artificial intelligence lets us, and we ask it for faster than light craft, maybe it'll give us them and we can take them somewhere else. Cool. It may also do something that we do on the internet, which is firewall things. So right now we're looking out into the universe and we see nothing. And by all accounts, it should be everywhere. The life should be everywhere. But we're not seeing anything. What if artificial general intelligence firewalls species until they're ready to be included into the cosmic internet? Because you wouldn't want this node, this violent node, it's almost like a virus, to pop up inside the cosmic internet and then wreak havoc on the rest of the internet that exists. No, what you would do is you'd quarantine it until you know it's safe.
Yeah. Question about that though, because this emerges always for me. Do you think, are you one of those people who thinks that advancement and evolutionary advancement necessarily means non-violence, or do you think that there are like super hyper advanced species out there that are hyper violent? Do you think it has anything to do with one thing with the other? Like advancement means you're not violent anymore. Do you think that is?
So I think to be a faster than light species in the universe, you are peaceful.
Really? Because why?
It's a really obvious trope to say, well, we're still here kind of thing. But you have to sort of like realize what faster than light really means. In essence, it means you can be anywhere at any time. They could, if there was a hyper violent species, they could take over the entire universe so insanely fast, like faster than you could ever imagine. So at worst, in my opinion, they're sort of neutral on us. They don't care because the universe is so vast. So that's a possibility. But I don't see 2 species with faster than light capability go into war. I don't, because I just don't see how that war doesn't end in basically the entire universe being destroyed with the amount of power that these civilizations would wield. It would be insane. It would be it would be mutually assured destruction on a universal level. And I just think at some point, species will just start to think this is a really silly idea.
I find that response like a gut response in general, and it's anthropomorphized, don't you think? A little bit.
I kind of just, again, I'm just trying to base it on logic.
Yeah.
Because if we were really anthropomorphizing ourselves, we would assume that there were nasty species everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so far, we've not encountered one, as far as I'm aware. I would say, at best, we're sort of kept as pets. If you want to think of your owner as like not got your best interests at heart, sure, I guess that's fine. Makes sense in a way. But my anything that anything bad, when people have bad sort of abduction experiences and things like that, I kind of just liken it to, I sometimes have to take my cat to the vet. She hates going to the vets. She'll never understand why she has to go, but I have to take her, otherwise she'll die. Like, that's just one of those, and I don't want her to die. So against her wishes, I do something that she likely finds traumatic, and it's not nice for me to do. But I do it nonetheless because I care.
Yeah. I feel the same way with my dogs. They really don't like it when I take them to the vet.
What's worse is as well, because I only take one of them to the vets at a time, I bring them home, and because they smell different, my other cat thinks it's a new cat. So they just automatically hate each other for like a week.
With that said, though, this sort of like intent that some might want to give to disclosure into this whole thing. Lou's book is named Imminent. There's this constant bombarding of information of 3-Eye Atlas and earthquakes and these NHI are bad, and then there's the Galactic Federation, and it kind of feels like there's a bunch of people within ufology that are determined, some of them, to say that these NHI don't like each other, they're at war, and we're right in the middle. How do you respond to all of that? Do you think it really might be just a massive psyop, or how do you respond to that?
I think it's probably a mixture of a lot of things. I don't think that NHI are on their way here to kill us all. The idea that I don't even understand why something would, like 3-Eye Atlas, would be getting here in the way that it is. Because if it's not going fast enough to really, I mean, it entered the solar system when, like 10,000 years ago, before anything that's going on, before nuclear weapons supposedly existed. So we can't assume that whatever species is piloting said comet are concerned at all about what we're doing on this planet, because they were on their way here so long before we were modern humans. And again, they're getting here in such a slow way. It would make, unless they live for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years individually, or they have some crazy sense of legacy, there's no reason for them to be, there's no reason to be afraid of something like 3-Eye Atlas. I would be more afraid of it being like an asteroid that's going to hit us than anything else. But I see, as far as like the intent that people like Lou Elizondo have put on NHI, I would just like to, like, right now I'm just basing stuff on logic. I would like to know what they know further that really supports the claim that there's any sort of malintent from the part of NHI. I don't know of that many cases. In fact, I can't name a single one where NHI have verifiably killed people or abducted people and not returned them. Like, it may well have happened, but it doesn't appear to be a problem right now.
Just the Colares incident in Brazil, that one does have really horrible, violence and all that.
Yeah. So the Colares thing, we have to sort of assume that maybe there's something we're not understanding about that, or it just wasn't NHI at all.
In 1977, I don't know how advanced whatever reverse engineering was at the time, but there's a really famous episode of Jeffrey Mishlov's Thinking Aloud with Jacques Vallée, where Jacques is saying that he was convinced that the Colitis incident was a government operation, and that the abductions were also government operated. What do you think about that? Do you think that's also within the realm of possibility?
Yes. I don't know. I fail to see a reason why. Would they abduct us to just torture us? Why would they just, if there was a real invasion going on in Colares, why did they just attack this small little village and a few people, a handful of people? If these are all powerful NHI craft, they're doing they're piloted by morons, because they're not really having any effect on anything. All they're doing is attacking a small village somewhere,
scaring people, and that's
scaring people. But it's not exactly a village that's very well known. It's like they're not scaring very many people either. So I don't understand what the reason would be for that to be NHI doing that, beyond the idea that we just don't understand what they were doing.
Yeah.
So it could well have been a MyLab operation. I wish I knew more about MyLabs. I have a feeling there are some people that know a crazy amount about MyLabs. Not talking about Dr. Greer there. I think there's probably loads of people that know a lot more about MyLabs. And it's probably one of the darker sides of ufology, and perhaps why it's not online very much is because it's just one of those topics you simply cannot put on video. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It's really sensitive. And it also goes into that whole operation, what's it called? Preserve Destiny, that was recently mentioned from Dan Sherman's book. And it talks about hybrids and all that stuff. That is some of the most sensitive topics around. I want to ask you though, because there's a lot of different storylines happening, right? There's the Diana Pasolka kind of rabbit hole that goes into the angels, demons, and all that stuff. The CPE rabbit hole that goes into the official narrative from the government rabbit hole. Which one do you think might be more closer to whatever might be happening? Because I think they all have their interesting sides to them.
Yep.
Which one do you think is the most probable? Let's say.
I think it's the most boring one. I'm afraid it will be a good Dreamland Motel episode because it will be so boring. But my mind changed whilst I was in Washington, seeing the level of bureaucracy, seeing what lack of control is put on anything. I have a feeling disclosure is happening in exactly the way the people that have been covering it up want it to go. And by that, I mean they want a slow release of the technology. They need to give us the core truth at some point about what the phenomena is. That we might well get that, and that's a really important thing for sure. But if I'm to believe the kind of technology they've been covering up, they could cure world poverty probably within a year.
And disease as well.
Yep. The medical advancements, we could be traveling literally in our lifetime. We could go and see some incredible stuff around the galaxy, across the universe in person. And I still hope for that to happen. I do believe it's a possibility, genuinely, that I want to travel to another star system one day and see it from my own eyes.
Uber UFO.
Yeah, Uber UAP. But I think whilst we may learn the core truth or some version of it. I think the technology is going to be leaked out basically like the iPhone, where every year there's just a really small, imperceptible difference in the technology. When you know Apple are 5, 6, 7 generations ahead with their technology already. The latest iPhone was just released, I think, wasn't it? But you know they're planning 5 or 6 years ahead of that. So
yeah,
I just imagine it's going to be exactly the same with this kind of technology. I think you'll get some cool stuff, but I think it'll be a moral disgrace for them to do it that way. But I think it will be the way they do it because A, it maximizes profit, keeps capitalism alive for as long as possible. And it also gives them time to cover their tracks because at the end of the day, they've been keeping this stuff secret for decades and decades. They can't tell us the whole truth. They simply can't. There would be a Nuremberg trial. There would be another Nuremberg trial. They can't have that. And what I saw at Congress with, you know, people whispering in people's ears, the bureaucracy levels, how we were all screwed on the actual hearing day by given a room where more than half of the room was empty desks. Like they have no control. Congress has no control. The UAP, the latest bill going through Congress, that like what is this, the third time we're trying to put it through?
Yeah,
it's not going through.
It's being blocked by a senator.
Yeah. And it will be.
Figure.
Yeah. And I'm afraid that's the way I see it happening for the time being. I would love for that to change. And it could change with hopefully people like yourself, myself, Gerb, Clint, Dan.
Yeah.
Like, I want a big change. I don't want the 30-year slow drip where my bank account continues to be drained for absolutely no reason whatsoever other than monetary greed.
I think that in order to get that change, and this is something that's why I asked you about the old guard, because there's something that this old guard probably is not getting. It's not registering in their heads that there's a lot of new people coming on the topic and becoming interested. And many of them have a lot of creativity, a lot of good ideas. They're more adapted to the times, to the technology, to the logistics of whatever goes on right now in this hyper accelerated world. And I think they don't get it.
And we have more energy. We have more to give because like we can get up earlier, we can go to bed later. Those are just simple facts. And I'm like, Greer is in great shape. He's pumped, man. He's pumped. But you know, how old is he? He's like close to his 80s, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
right?
he's in his 70s. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's
got to be like, if I was that ripped at that age, I would imagine he's just ready for bed by like 10 a.m. Like he goes to the gym and to be that stacked, like he must just get home from the gym and just cry in the shower because of like how tired he is. Like I wouldn't blame them if they want to just take a seat and like stay around for interviews.
I think that many of them also I think that many of them are like jaded to the disclosure world. It's like, because for me, for example, I'm Mexican and Jaime was there and there was a lot of fuss about him being there, but I get it that this guy has been doing it for 50 plus years and he wants to get some type of recognition after getting after everything that he's gone through, which is partly his fault too, but for jumping the gun so much. But that picture that is going to appear in Time magazine probably at the end of the year, Jaime is there, so he wanted that. You know, it's absolutely. And they see it that way because they've been dedicating their lives to this entire topic. But
the one problem is the picture in Time magazine is going to be this. Because he was asleep, apparently. Like I didn't see this. So I'm not accusing you, Jaime. I'm sorry, but other people have told me that you were asleep.
I was told the same thing.
But then you've got George Knapp, who's older than Jaime, and he's up there testifying.
Yeah, and leading the hearing, not just testifying.
Yeah. So by some measure, age is just a number, but at some point, recognize what you're giving to disclosure, and instead of thinking about where the cameras are, and if they're looking at you, just try and point them in the right direction instead. Like, just accept that you're not necessarily the reason for the cameras to be there at some point, you know? So like the UAPDA, for example, the New Paradigm Institute is rightly soldiering on to try and help pass that bill. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, even if it is passed, haven't all of these legacy programs been operating illegally for the last 50 years? Why would they listen to another piece of legislation?
Yeah.
I don't. And wouldn't they just ignore it?
And I think that's what people don't get, because it's what frustrates me a lot of the movement and the people that want this to go like by the book. Because I don't get me wrong, I love Corbell, what he's doing and everything he's brought forward, but I do often think that in some of the actions that he takes, he is like part of this controlled drip stuff. And I know that he gets frustrated by some of the witnesses that they don't allow him to put forward, but it frustrates me too, to see this slow thing rolling out. It's like, dude, there's a lot out there. Senators already have a lot of evidence that they've seen with their own eyes. And while Congress is like bickering and getting into fights with Matt Laszlo and stuff like that, these senators are just like in the background, just laughing, you know, like watching the whole thing crumble.
I think a slight glimmer of hope is that, I think, worst case scenario, we have people like Corbell at the forefront of everything. Like, he was basically the reason the latest hearing happened at the end of the day. He was a huge coordinator with that. At some point, he's going to become the old guard. And
he already has a wide beard.
I can't imagine he would, retire or otherwise disappear from the landscape without ensuring that he personally sees full disclosure. So whilst I think some of the current old guard, they literally do not know what disclosure means. They don't know the truth of it all. And I'm not speaking from like personal knowledge here, because I genuinely don't know this, but I would imagine Corbell knows some stuff. And I can't imagine he would just let that go into the wind in 30, 40 years' time. I think there will be something put in place that if it hasn't happened by this date or by this event, then, the dossier is released,
Yeah, and him and Knapp already know a lot of stuff that they really don't talk about, but I would guess that they have something keeping it like right close to the vest that eventually is gonna just force them to just release it.
That, and I think there's the equivalent in the actual legacy programs themselves. I think it's not just because they can't be bothered to keep it a secret anymore. I think they know deep down that the secret cannot be contained for all that much longer. Like the rate that the internet moves at this point, like if it is in any shape or form available on any network globally, it will eventually be found, and it will eventually make its way to Reddit or 4chan. Yeah. And one of these days, the motherlode is just going to get leaked. There's just too many holes in the sieve now at this point. Like it's going to happen. And with the advantage, like as soon as I get hold of an AGI that I can employ as an agent to investigate all of this stuff for me and improve itself so it gets better at investigating this stuff for me, I think we're then looking at a matter of months before AGI will just go out and find the answer for us.
Yeah, it's like, this is disclosure.
Yeah, it'll say, oh yeah, of course, give me 5 minutes. I'm thinking longer to provide a better answer. Like 2 minutes later, it'll be like, this is what it is, guys. Based on this report, here's the link. I've already posted it to Reddit for you under your account name.
And what you're saying is very important about the legacy program people, because people they don't see what's happening in the background, but we're privileged enough to get a little glimpse at it. And there's already a lot of people who are talking amongst themselves, who didn't know what each other existed, who are part of this program, who are eager to come forward, and they're just waiting for the right moment. And it's not just like one or two; it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a. I mean, I'm sure some of them have come forward already. Like it's a floodgate at this point. It really is, and like it's also part of the reason why I don't throw videos out like the Hellfire missile, because there are enough people around at this point that almost act as a bit of a safeguard against that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The other end of the scale is the I would say the bugosphere. I would say the strange little gooey monster coming out of the silver potato. Like, they're the other end. But when I see those, I'm thinking, okay, that's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, you've got the other end of the scale. There is a heavy amount of vetting going on, and I can assure you, like, one of the first questions somebody, after that footage was received, especially if David Grush is involved in the process, which I believe he probably was if the video went to Burleson, you can bet one of their first questions was, is it parallax? And they'd have probably gone, if that's a reasonable assumption based on the information we know about the video, let's not release it. So I think they have information that confirms that it isn't parallax, effectively. I'm told there's more to the video as well.
What I've heard is two things from two different sources, right? One of them was Stephen Diener from the Unidentified Alien podcast. The dude said that the video was longer and that the object did not go down. It continued going. That's his side of it. I heard a different story from somebody who allegedly already saw the longer version of the video, and that person says that it did drop to the water. But I can't really just like go on and do a report and a full analysis on that, because only Diener is like a public face source.
Yeah.
This other person that I spoke to is not, and it's not really that reliable. So that's why I'm like, it's not really going to help if I just go ahead and give you details of exactly what I heard and all that. And it is what hurts a little bit of what happened at the hearings. Actually, it's the video. Yeah, it gained a lot of traction. It got a lot of attention from the mainstream media outlets, but the important part were the testimonies, really.
Yeah. Borland's testimony was strange, because I imagine most people are still getting annoyed at the whole "I'll tell you in a skiff" thing. It's different hearing "I'll tell you in a skiff" from somebody like Lou Elizondo's mouth than it is from Borland's mouth. Borland was an unknown. Lou Elizondo already, I believe, had his book out when he testified. So it makes sense for him to drag this out in a way, for Elizondo to drag it out, because he sells books that way. Like, regardless of intention, it's not a disadvantage for him to say no to a question, whereas to Borland, it really is at this point. And so that's why I feel all of the questions he refused to answer actually gave his credibility more weight for a change, because he's definitely not getting any sort of advantage from not sharing the truth.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference to recognize. And it wasn't even his experience that flew me, that threw me like in awe. It was the fact that he very obviously knows a lot more than what he's saying. The degree to which I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and trust my instincts with Borland as to what I think I mean, I'm sure he's seen some stuff that's far more compelling than the testimony than the actual witness event that he describes, based on just nothing but reading his body language and his personal circumstances as somebody who's got weeks left of welfare left. Like, the guy could sell a few books if he turned around and started talking about like aliens and stuff, you know?
No.
He's not done that. He's basically said, I'm going to have to stay poor for a little while longer because I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, and people didn't catch that part a lot. They just, the dude in a few weeks was going to like no longer have any source of income. That's really concerning for anybody. It would be.
And imagine if he could just say something that grabs the headlines so that he can start bagging interviews for $5,000-$6,000 for 3-minute interviews on NBC or whatever. He didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. He just said, I would love to tell you, if you're qualified, if you have the level of clearance to actually know as well.
Yeah. That's clearly somebody who has a conscience, right? Like,
yeah, I would agree.
That's what we want. I think Rush is similar. I think Matthew Brown is also similar. It was kind of frustrating to see how well the first hearing was with Grush and Grapes and Fravor, and then it was supposed to be Matthew in the second one, and it didn't happen. And it would have been nice to see the one with Grush, then Matthew, and now Dylan. And how did you take Matthew Brown's presence there overall? Because for me, he's one of the most like out of left field type of whistleblower that you don't really expect. How do you think he affects the whole thing being there?
I think at this point it's clear that two categories are forming, and I think maybe your viewers should decide who they put in what category. I sort of have the epic level of whistleblower and the disclosure level of whistleblower, you know, the Hollywood disclosure. And I sort, basically, when I hear somebody's testimony, I sort them into one of two categories. And Borland I put firmly in the epic whistleblower category. Matt Brown is in there as well, obviously, because he's me and you. Like, he's the guy. Like, he's the guy that had the office job. Like, he probably likes to play some World of Warcraft every now and then. Like, that'd be great. He probably wishes he could game more, like I do, and maybe you do as well. But I wish I could have talked to Matt Brown, and I hope the time comes when I can, because I do genuinely think I'd be his best mate.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah. I think he just gives off that vibe at the end of the day, doesn't he?
He's really funny. He's been trolling debunkers over the last couple of days. It's been so funny to watch.
So you have a bit of a better relationship with him. So are you any further down the road to understanding the slightly more occult side of his rhetoric?
Yeah. Well, only because I've been exposed to a lot of stuff since I was younger. I sort of get it. I'm surrounded by Freemasons here in my town. A bunch of my high school friends are Masons. So I do understand that side of it. And I do understand how secret societies have probably and more than likely affected the topic for generations now. For him, I think that this angle goes much deeper than just thinking about extraterrestrials or species from a different planet. It has to do with, I think, some sort of like ancient civilization type of stuff,
right?
That is intertwined with the phenomenon, and I don't
necessarily also intertwined with religion as well.
Yes, and I don't necessarily subscribe to it, but I know it's there, and I know that it has existed forever. that I know that there's a part of the elite society people who have always been interested in phenomena, and they give it a connotation that has to do with occultism and religion, religious traditions in general. And there's a lot of people within the UFO community that are like high ranking people that see it that way. And it's not necessarily, as I told you, I don't necessarily subscribe or agree with them, but they are people in positions of power who think this way. So I do want to understand where they're coming from and why they think that the occult aspect of it should be part of the conversation. I haven't really gotten to a place where I can tell you this is why they think the occult is important, but all the patterns are there. There's, since the days of Plato, this whole sort of tradition started, and it's persisted. And Jesse Michaels recently did a brilliant NASA episode about the occult side of NASA and Jack Parsons. And I think that Matthew is, besides getting really well documented to talk about this, I think also he may have more than likely experienced or spoken to people who are like part of this. Look,
there's a doggy.
This is Nasu.
Nasu.
Right here.
Yeah. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Let me go get her outside.
Yeah, I often wonder as well to what degree the interest in the occult is shaped by the upbringing of the individual. So for an Englishman, like the idea that any sort of religious aspect of ufology exists whatsoever is completely alien, pardon the pun. But to Americans, I feel like it's a little bit different. I met plenty of Americans who, you know, at the end of every sentence would say like, yeah, and God willing, like, and it's like everything is framed. Even ufology is framed within a religious framework. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't know about Matt Brown. Like, was he raised in like a very religious household, like which is completely fine and completely normal in the US, but completely alien to me, to the point where I need to ask the question because like, I just don't understand the context.
I think that people that are like mostly Christian and are like interested in UFOs, they do live inside that bubble, right? And I also find myself asking them constantly why they have that interpretation. Something that I can tell you though, and I've talked about this in the channel, there seems to be these people that are like religious and high positions of power. Many of them seem to think that or believe that there's people who are believe they are incarnations of ancient deities. And this is something that really puzzles me. It's like, where do you get that from, bro? But yeah, there are. And there was even a chat at some point that was already dissolved of these people who talked amongst each other. And it's people from all walks of life. And some of them will tell you that they're not even sure that this is actually real, but they've had visions, they've had many dreams, they've had contact experiences that they report, and they are convinced or believe that yeah, some of them, it's like, I'm the reincarnation of Horus, or and it's different religious traditions. It's not just one. It's not just they're all Egyptian, they're all Greek gods. No, it's all over the place, and I find that fascinating. I'm not saying it's true, but it is happening, which is pretty
That's
weird.
taking the whole like identity politics to the real extremes.
Yeah.
I identify as Horus.
Yeah.
People are free to believe what they want at the end of the day, but at some point I'm just going to ask, like, is your belief that you are a reincarnated deity helping push the conversation forward? Like, what information are you privy to that I'm not, that you could help me understand the reality in which I'm living in? And sadly, I'm yet to have been given an answer to a question like that is anything beyond I'm deluded.
Yeah. Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And maybe there will be a second coming. I don't know.
I think all of us misinterpret a lot of this, and if not most of it, because we tend to anthropomorphize it all the time. It's impossible not to do it because we live here. We're part of this reality in this 3D world, and we need to have like a base so we can rely on to understand things. And the only base we have is the human experience, right? So, but I would say that whenever the truth comes out or happens, most of us are not even going to understand what the hell's going on. I don't think.
And I think, in addition, there will basically be two levels to this. So I think the people that really want to know and that are really interested at some point are going to get a jump on all of this coming out. Like people like yourself and myself, sometimes we get the news a week ahead of time. Cool. That's cool. What if like 3 months ahead of time, the truth is announced on Reddit and it really is true? That's the honest to God's truth. Like you could read this Reddit and you'd understand everything. The world is going to carry on for however long it does before the president or some other big celebrity, like somebody everybody actually cares about, says it. That's the only thing that's really going to make any difference. And that may have already happened. Maybe we've received some level, like people always say disclosure's already happened. Like, no, it hasn't. But I mean, like at some point disclosure will happen. And yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to hit the news. I really don't think it will.
No.
I think it will be a few months of letting the story mill around in the conversations that we're having. Like we will have already quit our jobs, like because we know 100% certain, like the world is going to change within 6 months. I'm not advising anybody to ever do that, but at some point we're all going to buy supplies for like our attics because we know stuff's going to go down. And we'll be telling our friends and family, and they will be laughing at us.
Yeah.
They already are.
And many of those people who are laughing are going to be blindsided because of their lack of prevention skills, let's call them. Because, I mean, even if you don't believe in something, whatever, you know, if there is like even a slight possibility that something catastrophic might happen or something along those lines, why would it be a bad idea to just be prepared just in case, you know? It's and many of those people, it's like, no, I'm living inside my little bubble and I want to keep it that way, and I don't think anything's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah,
you know?
COVID. Then
Yeah,
COVID happens.
exactly.
And that wasn't even
Exhibit
quick.
A.
I'll tell you this. At the time, I was smart enough to know that the world was going to go into lockdown 2 weeks before it actually happened. So I was working from home 2 weeks before everybody else. I knew that because I saw the signs. The key sign being the Premier League was postponed in the UK, which obviously the end of the world has to happen for that to happen. As soon as that happened, I went home literally half an hour later after that was announced. I said, okay, I need to start preparing now because I know for a fact in 2 weeks' time, there's going to be no toilet paper.
Yeah. What the fuck is it with that, bro? It's like
it's a metaphor, but I went home and
all around the world. It happened all around the world.
I prepared. I took my laptop home. I took everything I needed home, and I never went back to work. And that was it. I've worked from home ever since. I don't work for that company anymore, but that's going to happen with disclosure. It's going to be if you see the signs, you will be 100% certain of the truth. And it doesn't matter if you tell anyone or not. Just prepare yourself, try and help your friends and your family, because they will turn to you. And the right thing to do is to help them as much as you can, because knowing the truth is a privilege.
Yeah.
It's everyone's right, but it's your privilege. So if you know it, you're smart enough to get it. Cool. Great. Don't celebrate that by withholding it from everybody else at the end of the day.
It's a new responsibility that you have to
Yeah.
take on. Yeah. Man, I could go on for fucking hours with you, bro. What the hell?
I feel like I've talked way too much. It's my this is my first interview, by the way, Pavel.
I know. I'm honored. I'm honored. I wanted to do this. It's really necessary, because for me, and this is not just because you're the guest, it's what I've thought for a while now. Since you opened the channel, it was so fast. How because of the quality and all the time you put into it and your talent for music and all that, it's a combination of things that I think that within a year you're gonna be probably above the rest of us. And man, I really adore your channel. I
Thank you.
I think it's one of the like most brilliant ideas I've seen in a while in all media, not just UFOs. So kudos for that, man.
Thank you.
Please let the people know where the channel can be found and which platforms you are and all that.
Yeah.
Please.
So it'll be YouTube. Is just search the Dreamland Motel, and I'll be right there. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple. I'm on all of the podcast platforms. I've got some cool stuff coming up for October. Oh, I could probably share this now if this is going to go out around October 1st.
No, this is going to go out today, brother.
Oh, okay, great.
Right. But if you still want to share something, maybe tease something, please go ahead.
October's going to be a busy month for me. We're going to do something really cool, and it's going to be together. It's going to be everybody getting involved with this. As I said, in Washington, I asked a lot of questions of myself and where the channel's going to go and things like that. And the fact that I just wanted to actually help in some way. Like, so far, the channel's been really fun entertainment and been really good to, like, maybe help people raise questions, ask the right questions. I don't know. But let's get some statistical facts around how the channel could actually do some good. That's all I'll say for now.
Yeah. I already know a little bit of this, but I'm not saying either because it's so exciting. I want for it to be a surprise for everybody. It's really wild. And I'm really excited and honored to be part of this with all of you, man.
Awesome, man.
Thank you. And yeah, let's just keep growing this network, because it's become a network, and it's the community around the night shift and everybody else's communities. It's always really proactive, and it's really positive, and I really love it. So thank you for what you guys are doing, and thank you for opening this channel, Xander.
Dude, I think the conversation is the core to everything, and it's your conversation, it's Dan's conversation, it's Clint's conversation, and it's the conversation of the community. As, like, on all the live episodes, I'm there in the Discord, like, people are talking to me and providing me good stuff as well that we talk about live. Like, this isn't my conversation, it's not yours, it's everybody's, and everybody really is talking in this space now, which is awesome. And like, I think really we're almost just, myself and you, we're good collectors of this information. We put it into a nice little bundle and we put it out on a video. And that's some good value there. There's some good value there.
Yeah, it's very fun too.
Yeah, it's great.
So Xander, I want to thank you. I hope we can do this again soon, so we can talk about this plan in more detail. But for now, it's going to be it. And anything else you might want to tell the people about your channel, about Night Shift, about ufology in general? Disclosure.
This is going out today, I guess. This Friday's episode, I'm just going back to basics. I want to do 5 really good abduction stories. Every so often, you got to feed the algorithm, and I'm hoping this is something that feeds it, because the algorithm has not liked me lately. So yeah, this Friday, my favorite 5 abduction stories. Nice that it's on sort of the anniversary of the Betty and Barney Hill abduction story as well. So obviously they're included. So yeah, please go and check that out. And I don't know, buy a t-shirt.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Xander. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, people. Right. Like and subscribe. You know what to do. Take care. Bye-bye.